Hi guys, Michelle back today to show you how to do a refund in Counterpoint. So this is the order that I'm going to cash out. I've completed the ticket. I'm about to say complete, but I wanted to show you more or less it going in and then coming back out. So I'm going to hit complete. It's going to give me my ticket here. Say close. Give me a pick ticket because there's a picking item on there. Okay, so we've completed the sale and they go home. They bought 5 bags of mulch and they only used 4 and they want to return one along with maybe something else on the order. So if you get this back, there's 2 kind of returns that occur. There's a validated return, which validated just means that they have their previous receipt with them that has a barcode on it. Or there's a non-validated return, which means they're trying to return something that was pre-POS. And then there's also more or less validated returns, but they don't have their receipt with them. So we're going to show you validated return. So I'm going to click this one here. Validated return, that's what this is. And if they come back in with their receipt from when they checked out earlier or a week ago and they have that receipt, if you notice at the bottom of the ticket the receipt ticket that we just went through, there's a barcode on the bottom of that. That barcode is a unique identifier to that transaction that occurred. So what you can do is use your barcode scanner to scan that receipt at the bottom, and it will populate that UPC number right here and find the document. Unfortunately, I don't have that to show you, but we'll do it this other way. So whether you've got the actual receipt in front of you or you know that it was a purchase and they can give you qualifying information to help you find that document, you can do a validated return. So obviously, at some points during the season, it may not be the same day. There may be tons of transactions that are in here. So let's say it's a Friday and they say, I was here last Monday, whatever it is. You can come back in here and say, give me all the transactions on this day, between this day and this day. And you can say, it's some day in there, and you say find tickets. It's going to bring up all the tickets that occurred in that time frame. So this is the one that I'm looking for. Obviously, I don't have the data in here yet to kind of constitute this, but there would be hundreds, if not thousands, of transactions in here from certain days. So if you have the document number, that's always the best way. But if you don't, you can go through the date range. Ideally, maybe they're a customer. You can say, hey, it's me, look up their phone number and say, hey, it was me. That should always narrow it down as well. But assuming they have no info, this would be how you would do it. So this is the sale that I want to return. So once you find it, once you've done all the work to find the transaction that you're looking to do a return on, you'll select it and say, okay. And this is kind of a fun, unique thing that we obviously didn't have before, but it's going to bring up the entire transaction that was purchased. And you'll see there's these little check boxes here, and there's more or less a history of the quantity that's available, quantity to return, the reason that they're returning, and obviously the description of what that was. So let's say I want to return everything. I can just click all the way down here and I could say okay, and it's going to complete the whole entire, we're doing a complete refund for what they purchased. And the only reason why you're doing a return versus a void is that it's going to be more than a day later. Otherwise, you could just do a void of the original transaction for some reason. So return is more or less after the drawer has been posted at the end of the day. So if you wanted to do all the items, you would just select them all. You would say okay, and it would do processing validated return. It would show up everything on here, as in all the items, the total that's due back. And the nice part about this is that it's picking up all these items at the rate or the price that you sold it at because you have a history of the transaction that you're looking for. So I'm going to void this so that I can show you something else on there as well. But we're going to go back into validated return, look up our document, and let's just say find tickets. And this is going to give me everything. Granted, there's nothing much in here, but that's the one I'm looking at. So we'll say okay. So, but this is what I wanted to show you is that, let's say I wanted to return this We'd Be Gone and this Beck's Midnight Black, the mulch. So the option here, the default when I did this was 1. And if you notice here, if I click more, it says cannot return more items than originally sold. Well, the reason it's saying that is that I only bought 1, so I can't return more than 1. So it's a really nice feature in having the POS. So I can add 0, add 1, and the reason code here is you could say change mind. You're exchanging it for a different product. You didn't like it. It was the wrong size. It was damaged. It doesn't work right. All of these more or less are doing the same thing. Again, choose the most appropriate reason for what you're doing. But the one thing that I need you to keep in mind, if you pick scrap return, this one has significance because it means this one is being returned and it's not going to go back on the shelf for someone else to purchase it. It's actually being pulled out of inventory. We're giving them their money back, but it's not going to be sellable again after this. So this one, if that's the actual case, if it's damaged for some reason, that's fine. But damage return and scrap return, both of these means that it takes that item out of inventory, whereas change mind, not like, wrong size, those will just be returned and then put back on the shelf. So just be mindful of which ones you're picking and whether it's sellable after the return or not. So we'll just say change mind. And then on this one here, let's go down here. So if you notice here, if we do the same thing, they bought 5, and the available to return, if I click additional quantities to return, as I increase my quantity return, my available to return decreases. So let's say I'm going to pick 3, and we'll leave it at change mind. So I'll say okay, and my total for these products comes to $19.31 that I would be returning. And you can return this back to the original form of payment, depending on whether it was cash or whatever it was. You can always offer them cash. That's still fine. But the nice part is I do want to tell you, notice that it's going to return what they actually paid for it. They're not going to get, this item previously was 4 for $16 or $4.49 each. Even though we're returning 3, they're not going to get $4.49 at 3 back. They're going to get what they paid for it back. So again, another really nice feature about that. And then you could say cash. We'll cash this out, as in it's going to give back $19.31. We'll say okay. And it's going to give us the refund receipt, more or less saying that we got the $5.88 back and the 3 bags at $4 back for $12. And then obviously this still has a note here about what they saved, but here's the whole refund. We gave them back their money, all of that. And we'll say close, and that's taken care of. And the last piece about that, ignore that. The last piece about this, the last thing I want to show you is if I do a validated return on that same ticket, let's say they come back 2 weeks later after this first return, I can do find tickets, and I'm going to pull up the same exact ticket now. If you notice, I can't return this item because I only bought 1 and I've already returned 1. If you do notice though, this other one, the Beck's Midnight, it says that I bought 5 and my ability to return is 2 because I bought a total of 5. I've already returned 3. So I can only return 2 more. Again, this is really kind of awesome because people aren't going to be abusing the system saying, I bought 1 and then they come back, 2 weeks later and they're trying to return the same product, or more of something that maybe they didn't even buy here. So this is really kind of a really great checks and balance. So I just wanted to show you that this would be here so that we can only return what they bought. And there may be, maybe they did have more of this product available. Like maybe this Weed B Gone, maybe they bought 2 bottles. But as far as this ticket is concerned, they only bought one of these items on this ticket. So you can only return one on this ticket. If you wanted to return the other one, you'd have to process this return and then go find their other ticket that has the other Weed B Gone on it to return that product. So there's some benefits to validated return. That would be one of the downsides. But again, it's still kind of a nice checks and balance. So that is validated returns. Sorry, guys, that was kind of a longer training. All right, guys, till next time.